Welcome to Advanced Data Analysis 1 with me, Erik Erhardt, Professor of Statistics at the University of New Mexico. In this video, I'll help get you started with the poster preparation of putting the poster into the template. So first we'll go down to class 27 for the poster preparation, and we'll download our poster RMD file and the logo. The logo is the UNM logo for the corner of the poster. All right, let's go over to RStudio. And the first thing we'll need to do for Class 7 is download the package and install it. That will allow us to work on our poster. Okay, I guess by clicking on this, it will actually take you there. All right, so we are here at the GitHub website. We'll scroll past this list of files to the documentation. And just beyond here, there is Getting Started. To install from CRAN, use this. Okay, either of these options are just fine. We can all install from CRAN, so let's do that. Now, I've already installed, so I don't really need to do this, but let me try. So what this package does is it creates some templates. And I'll show you how to access the templates first, and then we'll use the template that I've provided you for our posters to put our content in. All right, so that is installed. Let me show you what has happened. Under File, New File, R Markdown. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and there's Documents, Presentation, Shiny, and then From Template. And this is sort of a new section for me. I've got a bunch of different templates in here, and you can see the package that it's associated with is on the right. And it looks like they might be grouped together by package. And it looks like it's alphabetical by package. So we're looking for poster down, and the HTML better port is for portrait, whereas better land is better landscape. I'm going to open that one. Okay, it creates this template for us. It isn't saved, but if we save it somewhere, that will be fine. Let me put it somewhere where I can delete it later. Junk.r markdown. And it's not a QMD file. This has to be an R markdown, an RMD file. But if I knit this, it will create a poster. I think I disabled on my computer the automatic display of rendering output. So I'm going to open this. There we go. Opening it in a tab. And because it's a poster, it's huge, right? So I'm going to press Control- to make it smaller. And we can scroll up and down. And you can see this is a portrait poster. This is the bottom right corner down here. It has 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. There isn't enough content to fill all 3 columns, but there's a big area on top for the title. There's a second title over here. There's the author information, and at the bottom there's some logos and stuff. So if you can get that to work, then the rest is going to be pretty easy, because that is making sure that the software works. Let's close that and start with our template. All right, so I will open up the template that we just downloaded. Let's see. Give me a moment to find the folder. All right, assessments, worksheets. Okay, this is my folder. Okay, sorry for that detour. All right, so I'm going to open up our poster template. And it's possible it won't just run because I've commented this out. We've got this bib file that may or may not exist on your computer. Let's go ahead and knit this. We'll take a look at the empty template. Okay, and I need to open that manually by clicking on the HTML file. Okay, I made it red. Otherwise, it's not too different. I've got the UNM logo in the bottom right corner, and I've got the sections of the poster ready for us to complete. You'll put a title up here. You'll put your name, your email address, your department, and then all the poster content. Okay, so now we're going to get into it. There is one big, very important thing to do first. So your poster, when you run your project file, takes 45 seconds or a minute or more maybe to run. We don't want that to happen for our poster. So what we're going to do is down on class 17, I want you to copy this. What this does is it runs an R code chunk. I've got a comment here that says, for the poster, save the environment. So you're going to save all the data, but not the packages. So all the data will be saved as an image file into a file called ADA1.RData. Okay, so I'll render my poster. I should have clicked on that before. And when this finishes, actually it won't take too long because it's all my chunks are cached. All right. So it has saved this file now, ada.rdata. And that, you can see how large it is, 47, almost 48 megabytes. Okay, it's got a lot of stuff in it. We're going to read that in our poster. And so we don't need to do any of the excuse me. We don't have to do any of the computations. We're just going to read in the results. So our data set is the way it is for analysis. So in our poster, all right, so that's the first big thing to do. Second big thing to do is go over to our poster template. You can fill in your, I'm not going to worry too much about the titles at the moment. For bibliography, make sure your .bib file is here. All right, and then anything below this, do not modify these settings. Don't modify this stuff below. I've put in a bunch of additional settings that for a few of you who may have issues, I can help tweak things and fix it. But otherwise, it's just going to work the way it should for the rest of you. Down in the first code chunk, I load the data. So I need you to uncomment this load command. That will start by reading the data into the poster template. Then we load the packages that we needed. You know, there may be other packages that you need, but hopefully they will show up as you need them in the code chunks that you run. And then we'll be able to use the data in the poster. All right, so now the next step is largely just about copying and pasting. And I would do one piece at a time so that if there's any errors, you can quickly figure out where the error came from. So I'm going to go to the top of our content. Sorry, I think I went way too high. Okay, sorry. There's the poster. Here's the poster content. Introduction. All right, so here I've got a title. Yeah, let's do the top stuff first in the poster. So if I go to the very top, we have the main findings. The main findings is the title that appears at the very top. You can use italics with a single underscore or a single star on each side, or you can double star, double underscore to give you bold. So here I've got a title, Depression Increases Smoking. That's my main finding, and I'm just going to put that in here. And maybe, just because I can, I'll put one underscore to italicize increases. Oh, what the heck, it's a title. You can like make depression bold, make smoking bold. Okay, your name here. All right. And we've got an email, Department of All right, and make sure that you have your bibliography file named here in case you named it something different. All right, that looks good. We've changed something, so let's knit it. We're going to take baby steps. Okay, go over to the poster, refresh it. Okay, depression increases smoking. My name, email address. So this email address, it's hard to read right now, even though it's zoomed in pretty far. Well, there we go. But don't worry too much when it's a poster and it's big paper. Everyone's going to be able to read this stuff. Okay, back to the poster. Let's see, I'm going to get rid of this junk file. That's the bibliography. We don't really need that anymore. Okay, introduction. I'm going to copy the content for the introduction into the poster where it says introduction. Okay. And then I'm going to knit it. And just do one thing at a time. Now I've got citations here in the introduction, so we should be getting some bibliography. And because references is the last section, I think the bibliography is going to automatically appear under that. All right, let's go refresh. Okay, introduction. There's the content. I'm not going to worry too much about how it looks at the moment. There's the references. I'm primarily going to make sure that it's just there. And I'm going to tweak it for presentation later on. Okay, references looks pretty good. And this looks pretty good too. Okay, that was pretty easy. Let's hope the rest of the pieces are just as easy. So go back to here. We've got research questions. All right, I'm going to copy those, put them into the poster template, paste. That's easy enough that I'm not going to recompile it right after that. I'm going to go back. We have methods. We have data sources, variables, statistical analyses. I'm going to select all of that and put it into methods. And now I'm definitely going to knit it. The nice way of the nice part of doing it in this way is we already know all of the code and all the text works because it worked in our project file. We're copying from one to the one markdown file to another markdown file, so we're unlikely to have problems. I do, however, see some problems. You can see that the equation here for chi-squared and t-test are not typesetting like equations. Okay, so I'm going to remember that, and I'll come back to it, but I'm not going to get worried about it right now. It should work because it's between dollar signs, but okay, I'm not going to worry. Fortunately, our poster for this semester is not very mathematically intensive, so I think we can probably get away with not having equations. All right, research question 1. So this is the first place where things are going to get more complicated because we have code chunks. And there is one issue that we are going to need to deal with. All right, so I'm going to copy the full chunk for research question 1, and I'm just going to run it. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm worried about. I do have some equations that might not work. The code chunk part that I'm worried about is this syntax here of the hash pipe. That is a new syntax, which I don't think is part of our markdown, but we're going to find out together right now. Okay, we do not have a side-by-side plot for 1. Our figure caption is not working. There's text here. But anyway, so there's some captioning that is not working. You can see that the equations aren't working the cross references aren't working. So, all right. So this is about different software being out of sync, right? This poster template, which is the best one that I was able to find, does not yet work in Quarto, which is the new version of Markdown in RStudio. The older version of Markdown is RMD, and that's where the poster works. So some of these options with using the hash pipe are not working. So we'll have to come back and make some edits to make this work. Okay, so let's just keep continuing because we're creating the poster. We're going to tweak what it looks like a little bit later. Here's research question 2. I'm going to copy the content here, paste it under research question 2. We'll knit it. All right, let's refresh the poster. Okay, we see some content over there. Great. It looks like we're going to fill 3 columns just about right. Here we have a discussion. Okay, I did not complete my own homework about the discussion. And we've got future work. And paste. And the references fill in automatically because the bibliography is automatically the last, gets added at the very, very end. So if we have a section label called references, then the actual bibliography will fall after that heading. All right, so I click knit. Looks like these options are applied, but I think that the Quarto knows about the figure caption and subcaptions, but I don't think R Markdown does. I think that's the main issue about being out of sync. Okay, so this is pretty good as far as a basic poster goes. I'm zoomed out as far as I can go. So one thing that you can't do with an HTML poster, or at least I couldn't figure out how to do it, is to determine where the column breaks are. For example, it would be sort of nice if the results started on the second column and we could shorten some of the stuff on the first column, and then maybe the second research question could start at the top of the second column. That would be sort of nice, but I think we're just going to have to live with the text wrapping in sort of this normal way. Okay. All right. So if we did nothing else, look, we've got some equations. How did that start working? I mean, I'm not crazy. You saw before that it wasn't working, but it's working now. Okay. Hey, good. We have some Greek letters. All right. I don't like how the period dropped off. Okay. Anyway, there's going to be tiny quirks. It's not going to be perfect, but we have a poster that looks pretty nice and was very simple to make. All right, let's do the rest of the video is going to be tweaks. Okay, and we're going to try to improve the way things look from each section going from top to bottom. So we'll try to be a little bit critical of what it looks like and improve. Now, the first thing is we've got these very bold citations, and is that really needed? So let's look at, I'm sort of hesitant to worry about much of this stuff on a video like this. But reference text size, okay, those are the references at the very bottom. If we want those because actually those citations are pretty darn small relative to the rest of the text. However, it is 20 point, and a typical document that you'd read on paper might be 10 to 12 point size, so 20 is already bigger than usual. So if you needed to read it, you could step closer to the poster and read it. I think 20 points is just fine. I guess I'm not going to worry too much about the rest of the citation stuff. Okay, so I'm going to say these bold citations are just fine. Next, we've got bullets. We can read them. That's good. Methods, we've got our data source. We've got a solid dot for the first level list, and for the second level we have open dot. All of this looks fine. We have variable names. Again, I think I probably don't really need these. Okay. Oh yeah, I think these are two citations that I never included in my bibliography. So I'm going to include those in my bib file so that they don't appear like that. Or I'm just going to take them out of the, actually let me just take them out of, so lifelong depression, I'm just going to take the citations out of my text. Okay. The rest of that is just fine. Statistical methods, scroll up, go over. Two-sample t-test, chi-square test, okay. Results. And we've got the first research question. We are restating it, also in notation. Now here's where we sort of have our first issue. Previously in our project file, we developed some cross-references and we were citing these sections of the plot. And I really liked the way that looked, but it's not working in the poster. So we need to do something different. So maybe what we'll do, so the nicest way of doing this is if we had two ggplot objects, we could put them together. We could use cowplot to create labels for the panels of the plot and cite those labels. In our case, because I have a ggplot and a base graphic, and R, it's in base graphics of R, not in ggplot, we can't put these together into one ggplot object. So I think we'll just refer to sort of plot 1 and plot 2, or the histograms and the bootstrap, something like that. We can probably make these a little bit smaller, or at least the second one smaller, because this actually takes up a ton of real estate on the poster. But we also have tons of real estate, so it's not really problematic. In fact, maybe it's just fine. So maybe we just need to reference it slightly differently. Let's just do that. Okay. Let's just change how we reference it. So here's research question 1. Here's how we reference it in the histogram plot below. Okay, I realize they both have histograms. In the first histogram plot below, okay, blah, blah, blah. Then we've got the assumptions here. In the second plot below, maybe we just say plot in the first plot, in the second plot, etc. Okay, I think that's just fine. In the first plot, in the second plot. Okay, our captions were not working, and this layout doesn't work. The figure widths weren't working. It was just spanning the whole column width. That's probably fine. I think I'm going to delete all of this stuff. What's a better way to do that? Can I just do code comment? Nope. Because it looks like comments already. Okay. Well, that was Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, what I'm trying to do is I want to delete all this stuff, but I didn't want to delete it, so I wanted to comment it. Anyway, I'm just going to delete it. It's over in the project file if I ever need it. All right, let's knit because we made a couple changes. You never want to make tons of changes before you check that it's still going to work, because if something breaks, then you have more places where the problem could have been introduced. All right, so we'll refresh. All right, so our citations that were broken are removed over here. We say in the first plot, in the second plot. Okay, that's good enough. Okay. Then we've got our second research question. We have the same issue. Sorry, this is pretty small. In our second research question, we have the same issue about the references or the cross-references to tables and figures. Let's scroll over here. We've got a table that we might be able to make this a little bit bigger because the text is pretty hard to read. The figure's just fine. Okay, and we can probably improve or maybe even just remove the captions here. It would be nice if the captions worked, but okay. So here's research question 2. The text just works fine. We can say in the table below. Now in terms of referring to below and above, if it wraps onto the next column, we would still say below because linearly through the text it's below, even though positionally it might be above and to the right at the top of the next column. In the figure below, excuse me. All right, so then we have some code. This code chunk actually doesn't do anything. It was to check expected frequencies. Here we have a table caption that is sort of showing up in a way that doesn't really work for us. And same thing here. Okay, I think the figures are automatically spanning the width of the columns. We'll have to think about this table size, this table text in a moment. The rest of it is super straightforward. So that's knit. We're pretty close to being done. I mean, this is what I want for you, that once you have all the content and you're happy with it, it only takes about an hour to put it into a poster. All right, so I refreshed. We're going to scroll down to question 2. All of this text looks good. All the equations are rendering appropriately. We have the table. Check that out. It does say table 1. Oh, I think that is part of the table code. And then we have the plot. Good. Then we have the discussion section. Okay. And future work and the references. And you'll have a little white space, and that's okay. Right? If we had a little more control over formatting, we'd probably reformat some of this stuff to not have so much white space at the end, but I think that's totally fine. There are some things that we could do to reduce that white space. We could change the size of the poster, but I'm just going to say just leave it. Let's just leave it and fix it. But there are, just brainstorming with you. If you were curious, if we go up to the top of the poster, there are tons of options up here. Let's talk about some of those. Here at the top, the title, if you have a longer title, it may be too long to fit up here. The size that I made this is big enough for about 2 lines of text, but not more than that. This number here, main top size, is the percent of the poster that is reserved for that top area. So if I made that 0.2, the top of the poster now is going to be 20% of the full vertical size of the poster. Okay, so it takes 15 seconds every time I click knit. All right, let's refresh. Okay, you can see how much bigger that is now. That certainly fixed the white space issue, but it's probably, for my title, that's too big. But if you have a longer title, that might be a good solution for you. The bottom size is the proportion of the vertical size of the poster that's for the bottom. I have chosen a size that basically centers top and bottom the UNM logo, so I wouldn't mess with that. What else do we have? Just talking through, here's the poster height in inches, 4 feet, and width, 3 feet. You could change the poster height some number of inches. I recommend that you don't. Here's where I chose a bunch of colors. We've got the text size. We've got some other colors and text size. Yeah, mostly text sizes. We have some of the text sizes are specified in point, and some of them are specified in EM units. That's the width of a lowercase letter m. What else? Anyway, there are other text sizes. So, another option, not for our poster, for our presentation, but you could increase the text size, and that would obviously take more space. Oh, there are the rest of my references, right? So if they don't fit, they'll actually wrap over here off the poster. So hopefully, oh yeah, the last thing I'm sort of curious about is this table. Some of you may have a table like that also. So how can we make this text bigger? All right, let's see if there are some options. I think I got an error because I was refreshing the poster. All right, we want something that has to do with the text of a table. I'm not sure what it would be. So I'm going to just do a little bit of experimentation. Let's see if this is finished. Yes. Okay, we are back to having our white space and our normal size heading, and we have our table up here. All right, I want to try one thing, and then I'm going to end the video, I think. Reference, this is for the references. Caption, what happens if we turn this up to 40? Okay, we know that it used to be 20. In fact, probably the better way to do this. Keep the old value, put it a new value that we're going to try. I've already messed with most of this stuff so that you're not in here fiddling. I really am discouraging you from fiddling, but I'm curious. Okay, it did increase this, the size of this caption, but it did not change the size of the content of the table. All right, so I'm going to put that back to what it was. Okay, and let's go down to the table in case there's some options here. Nope, I'm not sure. All right, so the main question is, can this be read? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the references. These are 20 point, which is actually quite big. And so if we scroll back up, this text is about the same size. I think if someone wants to read it, they can lean in and read it, and it's not a problem. Okay. Oh, this became overlapping. Zoom out a little bit more. Also, the plot is not taking up the full width. Okay, I'm going to deal with that also, if I can. All right, so I'm going to take a guess here. I'm going to do the old style. Figure width equals 8. Figure height equals 6. And just put it in there. Uh-oh. What is happening here? Isn't this the old way of doing things? Oh, I think the old way was fig dot. Yep. Yeah, when they went from RStudio or R Markdown to Quarto, they made a lot of changes. I only want to live in one of those two worlds. Oh, did you see the figure get larger? If you didn't, go back 5 seconds and take a look. Okay, so whatever I did improved that, and the main thing that it fixed that I like is that it made so that these labels no longer overlap. So I'm happy. So we'll zoom out. That's it. That's my poster. So obviously, I didn't finish my poster. I didn't finish the discussion for the second research question, but you will have finished everything, and this is a totally acceptable poster. All right, the last, I guess I should have not bored everyone so that they've stopped the video by now, but the last part obviously is how do you print it? So I'm going to press Control P to print. Make sure that background graphics are selected because that's the red colors, okay? And we're going to print it to a PDF file. And, I would probably call it the same thing as the original file. All right, so we've printed the PDF. We're going to go over, we'll open the PDF in Adobe. All right. Oh, this is bad. That is only the top half of the poster. All right. There's obviously more to it. Print pages all, background graphics. I see the whole image here. There's the references, but it doesn't go down to the bottom. All right, a second video is on its way, or at least an email, that is going to describe how to print this to PDF so that we can print it at the printers. All right, that's the end of this video. Hope you are having a good experience getting your poster content into the poster. See you next time.